We've covered a lot of security-related issues on the show over the years, but today I wanted to bring in an expert, someone who makes their living dealing with the issues. Constable Shane Aikens of the RCMP has graciously agreed to join us. He is in the Integrated Child Exploitation Unit. Shane, thank you very much for coming in today. So, since you're in the Integrated Child Exploitation Unit, parents, what can we do to protect our kids and to take care of our kids online?
Two biggest things we try and get across to parents are the position of the computer in the house and that it should never be in a child's room. And secondly, that there's no reason to have a webcam in the house. Okay,
well, let's start with the first. And this is one of the things that I've said over the years a lot, is your computer should be in a public location, the family room, up in the kitchen, where parents can walk by and see what the kids are doing online. It creates a real comfort net for both the kids and the parents. But today we got wireless networks. And we got notebook computers. So it's really easy for the kid to open up the notebook, take it up in their bedroom. But that's something that you think we should frown upon.
Absolutely. The computer needs to be in a public place so that the parents are aware of what their kid's doing. And there needs to be an understanding between the parents and the kids that if they do happen to stumble across on something that they shouldn't, that they need to be able to communicate that to their parents.
They should feel comfortable enough, yeah.
Absolutely, because a lot of kids, they may get into a situation, but they're going to be fearful that if they tell their parents what's going on, that their parents are going to take away their internet access.
And that's part of the experience of being online yourself, spending some time as a parent on the internet and understanding all of the issues. So parents who just have internet in their house but don't browse the web net themselves, don't go online, don't do any chatting, and if they don't have any experience with that, they don't really understand how easy it is for an external force to come in and be what the kids are involved in, not something that they've actually proactively gone out and started themselves.
Absolutely. Long before I was a police officer, one thing I always tried to get across to parents that it's important that they at least have a basic understanding of what's their kids are doing online. They don't need to be experts by any means, but they should at least understand what a web browser is, how it works, the ideas behind some of the social networking sites, at least have visited them.
I agree. And there's also a lot of real good things on those sites too. We shouldn't necessarily stop our kids from engaging, but we have to know what the world looks like out there. Now, one thing that you said that surprised me is the webcams, discouraging the use of webcams. Why is that such a big issue?
A very large amount of the investigations we end up getting involved in are where young teenage girls are convinced to expose themselves on webcams, and then those pictures are then held to blackmail them to commit further acts.
So once they got the first one, then they really have control over the kid.
Absolutely. There was an investigation out of Ontario that's still ongoing where they believe they have close to 500 victims from one predator in just such a case.
Good heavens. Okay, so either for kids or for parents. Your kids are online and they've come to you and said, Dad, I'm concerned about this. I got this email. There's something that's really bothering me. I'm a little bit afraid. What should they do? What should the parents do? Should they call the police right away, or what action should they take?
If they believe their child's in immediate risk, the first step should always be to call their local police right away. Call 911 if they believe the child is in immediate risk. For material such as coming across websites or information that appears to be child pornography received on email, Child Find Manitoba set up a website called cybertip.ca.
And it's right here, okay? And so this is kind of a clearinghouse. This is based out of Manitoba, but it's a place that they gather all the information and they distribute to all the other services right across the country, right?
Absolutely. People can report either via phone or they do have reporting on the web. They'll review the information and determine if there's something illegal going on. And if there is something illegal going on and it can be traced, they will forward it to the appropriate law enforcement agency, and their average turnaround time is only 6 hours.
That's pretty impressive. So you're not just filling out a web form and it's going off into cyberspace and then just sitting in the background at some point. Somebody's actually going to be looking at this very quickly and dealing with it and getting it to the appropriate authorities.
Absolutely. They have a pool of trained analysts. That's all they do is review the incoming information and forward it to the law enforcement agencies where appropriate.
Okay, and one thing we do notice here is they also have a 1-800 number. So if you don't feel comfortable in just filling out the form and you don't think it's a serious enough emergency to call 911, there's a 1-800 number that you could call to get more information.
Absolutely, but for anything received over email, the web form is the best way to go because it does explain to you how to provide them the information they need to track the emails back.
Now, is there any one age group that you're more concerned about than others in this day and age?
Absolutely, younger teenage girls.
Okay.
We've run into a lot of investigations where young teenage girls will be chatting online with someone they believe to be their own age and gender. That person they're chatting with will convince them to expose themselves in front of a webcam.
Okay.
Then what will happen is the predator will then reveal themselves to be an adult and use the picture that they'd sent as blackmail to convince the young girls to expose themselves further or commit further acts over the webcam.
So what started out as something kind of fun and naughty between two girlfriends now turns into something that could be potentially life-altering and is absolutely terrifying for the poor kid.
Absolutely, and the girls tend to be very afraid to tell their parents what's going on.
That's fully understandable. And you got to also be concerned then about digital cameras. Digital still cameras, the same potential might occur with those.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going to certainly take everything you've said to heart. Constable Shane Aiken of the RCMP, thank you very much for your time. We are going to take a quick break and return with more Dotto Tech in just a few moments.
For more information about any of the products we cover on the show, drop by our website at dottotech.com.